The apartment building was quiet. Too quiet. That was what Maya noticed first when she moved in. No sounds of life. No laughter. No music. Just silence pressing against the walls. Maya was 23 years old. Fresh out of college. Starting her first real job. The apartment was all she could afford. Small. Old. But it was hers. And it was in the city. That was all that mattered. Her neighbor was an elderly woman. Mrs. Eleanor Rossi. 92 years old. Maya had seen her in the hallway once. Confused. Talking to herself. The building manager had warned her. Mrs. Rossi has dementia. Alzheimer's. She is mostly harmless. But if you see her wandering, please call me. Maya felt sad for the old woman. But she was busy. New job. New life. New city. She did not have time to worry about a neighbor she did not know. Then one night, Maya heard the music. Piano music. Coming from Mrs. Ross's apartment. Beautiful. Haunting. Perfectly played. Chopin. Nocturne in E-flat major. Maya stopped. Listened. The music was exquisite. Professional. How could the confused old woman play like that? The music stopped abruptly. Mid-phrase. As if the player had forgotten what came next. Then silence. Then a few wrong notes. Hesitant. Confused. Then nothing. Maya stood in the hallway. Curious. The next day, she asked the building manager. Did Mrs. Rossi used to play piano? The manager nodded. She was a piano teacher. Famous. Taught at the conservatory for 40 years. Students came from all over to study with her. But after her husband died, her mind started to go. Now she barely remembers her own name. The piano is still in her apartment. Sometimes she sits at it. Plays a few notes. But mostly it just sits there. Silent. Like her. Maya could not stop thinking about it. A famous piano teacher. Forgotten. Her gift locked away by disease. It seemed cruel. Maya had always wanted to learn piano. As a child, her parents could not afford lessons. Now, as an adult, she did not have time. But something about Mrs. Ross's story touched her. An idea formed. A week later, Maya knocked on Mrs. Ross's door. No answer. She knocked again. Finally, the door opened. Mrs. Rossi stood there. Thin. Fragile. Her eyes clouded with confusion. Yes? She said. Hi, Mrs. Rossi. I am Maya. I live next door. I heard you playing piano the other night. It was beautiful. Piano? Mrs. Rossi looked confused. I do not play piano. Maya felt her heart sink. The disease had taken even that memory. I thought maybe you could teach me, Maya said gently. I have always wanted to learn. Mrs. Rossi stared at her. Teach? I do not know how to teach. That is okay, Maya said. Maybe we could just sit together. You could show me the keys. Mrs. Rossi hesitated. Then she stepped aside. Come in. The apartment was cluttered. But in the corner, against the window, stood a beautiful grand piano. Black and glossy. Untouched except for a layer of dust. That is a piano, Mrs. Rossi said, as if seeing it for the first time. Yes, Maya said. Can we sit at it? They sat together on the bench. Maya looked at the keys. Black and white. 88 of them. She did not know where to start. Mrs. Rossi stared at the piano. Her hands hovering over the keys. Not touching. Just hovering. Like she was trying to remember something. Something important. Then, slowly, she placed her fingers on the keys. And she played. Just a few notes. Simple. A scale. C major. But her fingers remembered. Even if her mind did not. Her fingers knew. Maya watched in awe. That was beautiful, she whispered. Mrs. Rossi looked at her. Surprised. Did I do that? Yes, Maya said. You did. I used to know how to play, Mrs. Rossi said softly. I think. I cannot remember. But my hands remember. Maybe your hands can teach me, Maya said. Mrs. Rossi looked at the young woman beside her. A stranger. But something in Maya's face was kind. Patient. I will try, Mrs. Rossi said. And that was how it began. The friendship. The lessons. The awakening. Maya would come every evening after work. Sit at the piano with Mrs. Rossi. And slowly, note by note, they would play together. And as they played, something remarkable happened. Mrs. Rossi began to remember. The first real breakthrough came 3 weeks later. Maya had been learning scales. Basic chords. Her fingers clumsy on the keys. Mrs. Rossi would sit beside her. Sometimes lucid, sometimes confused. But always, when Maya played, Mrs. Rossi would listen. One evening, Maya tried to play a simple melody. For Elise. The beginning. She stumbled through it, making mistakes. Frustrated, Mrs. Rossi watched. Then, without speaking, she reached over, placed her hands on the keys, and played, perfectly, all of For Elise, from memory, her fingers flying across the keys. Her face transformed, present, alive, lost in the music. When she finished, there were tears in her eyes. I remember, she whispered. I remember teaching this. Hundreds of students. Over 40 years. This was always the first real piece I taught. You were a teacher? Maya asked gently. Mrs. Rossi nodded. At the conservatory. I taught piano for my whole life. It was everything to me. Music was everything. Can you teach me? Maya asked. Really teach me? Mrs. Rossi looked at her. Really looked at her. For the first time since they had met, her eyes were clear. Sharp. The confusion lifted. Yes, she said. Yes, I can teach you. From that day forward, the lessons changed. Mrs. Rossi was not just a confused old woman sitting at a piano. She was a teacher. Demanding, precise, passionate. When she taught, the disease faded. The fog lifted. She was herself again. Your posture is wrong, Mrs. Rossi would say. Sit up straight. Curve your fingers. Feel the keys. Do not just press them. Play them. With intention. With soul. Maya learned fast. Not just because she was eager. But because Mrs. Rossi was an extraordinary teacher. She could hear the tiniest mistakes. Could explain complex techniques in simple terms. Could inspire with just a few words. But the lessons were unpredictable. Some days, Mrs. Rossi would be sharp, focused, teaching with the skill of her former self. Other days, she would be confused. Forget Maya's name. Forget why there was a piano in her apartment. Forget how to play. On those days, Maya would play for her. Simple melodies. The pieces Mrs. Rossi had taught her. And sometimes, hearing the music, Mrs. Rossi would come back. Her eyes would clear. And she would say, that was good. But try it again. With more feeling. The building manager noticed the change. Mrs. Rossi seems better, he said to Maya one day. More alert. I hear music coming from her apartment every evening. That is you? Maya nodded. We are doing piano lessons. You are a miracle, the manager said. In the 2 years since her husband died, I have never seen her this alive. Maya did not feel like a miracle. She just liked spending time with Mrs. Rossi. Liked learning piano. Liked the way music seemed to heal something in both of them. Mrs. Rossi started to talk about her past. On the good days, she told Maya about her childhood in Italy. About coming to America. About falling in love with her husband, Antonio, at a concert. About their life together. About the students she had taught. Some of them were famous now. Concert pianists, professors, musicians. They all started with me, Mrs. Rossi said with pride. I gave them the foundation. The love of music. That is what a teacher does. Not just teach technique, but teach passion. You are doing that for me, Maya said. Mrs. Rossi smiled. You are easy to teach. You listen. You care. That is all a teacher needs. A student who cares. One evening, Maya brought a recording. One of Chopin's Nocturnes. The same one she had heard Mrs. Rossi playing that first night. The one that had stopped mid-phrase. Do you remember this? Maya asked, playing the recording. Mrs. Rossi listened. Her eyes closed. When the music ended, she opened her eyes. That was my wedding song, she said. Antonio and I danced to it. At our reception. He was not a good dancer. But he tried. For me. Can you play it? Maya asked. I do not know, Mrs. Rossi said. It has been so long. Try, Maya urged. Mrs. Rossi moved to the piano, sat down, placed her hands on the keys, and she played the entire piece, without music, without mistakes, perfectly, as if she had played it yesterday, as if the disease did not exist. When she finished, Maya was crying. That was the most beautiful thing I have ever heard. Mrs. Rossi looked at her hands, surprised. I played that. I remember. I played this at my wedding. And I played it at Antonio's funeral 5 years ago. And now I played it for you. Thank you, Maya whispered. Thank you, Mrs. Rossi replied. For giving me back my music. For reminding me who I am. 6 months into their lessons, Maya had an idea. Mrs. Rossi, would you want to give a recital? A recital? Mrs. Rossi looked confused. Yes, just a small one. Here in the building. You could play. I could play. We could share music with our neighbors. I cannot, Mrs. Rossi said. I am too old, too forgetful. But you remember when you play, Maya said. Music brings you back. What if we did this? What if we reminded people who you are? What you can do? Mrs. Rossi was silent for a long time. Then she said, I would like that. I would like people to remember that I was someone, that I mattered. Maya organized everything. She talked to the building manager. He loved the idea. They would use the community room, invite all the residents, bring chairs, set up the small piano that was in storage. The day of the recital, Mrs. Rossi was nervous. What if I forget? She said. What if I sit down and cannot remember how to play? Then I will play, Maya said. And you can listen. And remember, we are in this together. The community room filled with people. Other residents, mostly elderly, some with walkers, some in wheelchairs. But they came, curious, supportive. Maya stood up, introduced Mrs. Rossi, told them about her career, her 40 years teaching, her hundreds of students, her gift. Many of you know Mrs. Rossi as a neighbor, Maya said. But you may not know that she is one of the finest piano teachers this city has ever known. Tonight, she is going to play for you. And I am going to play too. Because she taught me. In 6 months, she took someone who knew nothing about music and taught me to play. That is her gift. Teaching, sharing, music. The room applauded. Mrs. Rossi walked slowly to the piano, sat down, looked at the keys. Maya held her breath. Please remember, she thought. Please let her remember. Mrs. Rossi placed her hands on the keys. And she played Chopin, the Nocturne, her wedding song, perfectly, beautifully, with emotion that made people cry. When she finished, the room was silent. Then they erupted in applause. Mrs. Rossi looked surprised. Did I play that? She asked. You did, Maya said, hugging her. You were amazing. Then Maya played simple pieces, the ones Mrs. Rossi had taught her. She was nervous, made a few mistakes, but she played with heart, with joy, with gratitude for the woman who had taught her. When the recital ended, people came up to Mrs. Rossi, thanked her, told her how beautiful her playing was. She smiled, gracious, present, herself. One old man approached. Mrs. Rossi, I do not know if you remember me, but you taught my daughter 30 years ago. She is a music professor now. Because of you. Mrs. Rossi looked at him, her eyes clearing. Michael, your daughter was Sarah. Such talent. I remember. The man started crying. You remember. After all these years. You remember my Sarah. I remember all my students, Mrs. Rossi said. How could I forget? They were my life. After everyone left, Maya and Mrs. Rossi sat together in the quiet community room. How do you feel? Maya asked. I feel like myself again, Mrs. Rossi said. Music does that. It brings me back, even when everything else is gone. Music remains. You are an amazing teacher, Maya said. Thank you for teaching me, for sharing your gift. Mrs. Rossi took Maya's hand. You gave me a gift too. You gave me back my purpose, my identity. I was lost, and you found me, through music, through patience, through kindness. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. After the recital, word spread. Other residents wanted lessons. Children in the building, teenagers, adults who had always wanted to learn but never had the chance. Mrs. Rossi taught them all. When she was lucid, when the fog lifted, she would sit at her piano and teach. Patiently, lovingly, sharing her gift with anyone who wanted to learn. Maya coordinated everything. She would schedule the lessons, remind Mrs. Rossi, sit with her on the hard days when the confusion returned. And slowly, Mrs. Ross's apartment became alive again. Full of music, full of purpose, full of life. 1 year after their first lesson, Maya got news. A promotion, a transfer, to another city. She would have to move. She did not want to tell Mrs. Rossi, did not want to leave her, but she had to. When she finally told her, Mrs. Rossi was quiet. Then she said, "You must go. You have your life to live. Your career, your future. I am grateful for the time we had. But you cannot stay just for me." "But who will help you?" Maya asked. "Who will coordinate the lessons?" Mrs. Rossi smiled. "The building manager has offered. And some of the other students. They will help. You taught them how. You gave us all a gift. Now we will keep it going." On Maya's last day, Mrs. Rossi gave her something. A book. Old, worn. A collection of piano pieces. "This was my teacher's," Mrs. Rossi said. "She gave it to me when I graduated from the conservatory. Now I am giving it to you. Because you are my student. And you have graduated." Maya started crying. "I will treasure this. Always. Keep playing," Mrs. Rossi said. "Promise me. Music is a gift. Do not let it go." "I promise," Maya said. They hugged. Two women. Different generations. Different lives, but connected by music, by kindness, by the simple act of sitting together at a piano and learning. Maya moved away, but she kept her promise. She found a piano in her new apartment, kept taking lessons, kept playing, and every week, she would video call Mrs. Rossi. Sometimes Mrs. Rossi would be confused. Sometimes she would not remember Maya's name. But always, when Maya played, Mrs. Rossi would listen and smile and say, "That was beautiful. Play it again." 2 years after Maya moved, she got a call from the building manager. Mrs. Rossi had passed away. Peacefully. At 94, sitting at her piano, Maya flew back for the funeral. The church was full. Former students, colleagues, friends, people whose lives Mrs. Rossi had touched through music. At the service, Maya was asked to speak. She stood at the podium, looked at the crowd, and told them about Mrs. Rossi. About the teacher who never stopped teaching, even when disease tried to steal her gift. About the power of music to awaken memory, to restore identity, to heal. "Mrs. Rossi taught me piano," Maya said. "But she taught me so much more. She taught me patience, kindness, the importance of sharing your gifts. She showed me that we are never too old to teach, never too lost to be found, never too forgotten to matter." Music saved her, and she saved me, and now, I hope, we can all save someone else. By sharing, by teaching, by simply sitting together and making something beautiful. After the funeral, Maya went to Mrs. Ross's apartment one last time. The piano was still there. The building manager said Mrs. Ross's will had left it to Maya. "She wants you to have it," he said. "She told me years ago. When that young girl moves away, give her my piano. Because she will keep it alive. She will keep the music going." Maya sat at the piano. The same bench where she had learned. Where Mrs. Rossi had taught her. Where two souls had connected across generations. And she played Chopin, the Nocturne, Mrs. Ross's wedding song, perfectly, beautifully, with all the emotion Mrs. Rossi had taught her. When she finished, she whispered, "Thank you, Mrs. Rossi. For everything. I will keep playing. I will keep teaching. I will keep your legacy alive." And she did. Maya became a teacher herself. Not professionally, but she taught anyone who wanted to learn. Children, adults, anyone. She would sit with them at Mrs. Ross's piano and share the gift that had been given to her. Because that is what teachers do. They pass on, they share, they ensure that their gift does not die with them, but lives on, in their students, in the music, forever. Mrs. Ross's piano sits in Maya's living room today. 10 years later, and every evening there is music. Students coming and going, learning, playing, growing, and sometimes when the room is quiet, Maya swears she can feel Mrs. Rossi there. Smiling, proud, knowing that her legacy continues. Because music never dies, teachers never die, love never dies, they just transform into melodies, into lessons, into memories that echo through time, forever.